everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. I have a very special guest tonight, George Kitchens, who is from Augusta, Georgia and is part of the 2012 Olympic team in London in track and field. And George, I'm so happy to have you. He graduated from Glen Hills High School here in Augusta and then went on to Clemson University. So George, welcome.
Thank you for having me here, Vera. I am here to offer a few recipe suggestions to parents and grandparents that they could cook for the active kids in their life. And the recipes that we've chosen are part of the 2012 Michelle Obama Let's Move campaign, and we're choosing 2 items from the 2014 and 2015 Healthy Lunchtime Cookbook.
Well, that sounds great. So I'm all about moving. So why don't we move into the kitchen and I'm going to race you. Let's go.
Right, let's go. What took you so long, Vera?
Doggone it. You know, I love competition. You don't know how much I hate to lose, George, but that was so much fun.
It was.
And thank you so much for being with me today. And I'm just so pleased that you reached out to me. And for all of you young people that are out there in the audience listening, this man is on the show because he reached out to me with a great idea, and you took the initiative. And initiative is really what we're talking about today on the show in terms of making some healthy choices and doing what you need to do to live the longest, healthiest life that you can live. So the first recipe that we're going to make out of the cookbook is a fish and seafood taco. And you know, you didn't know I was a fisherman too,
I
George.
did not.
You've got a lot to learn about me. But my husband and I love to fish in the Beaufort area, and trout you can catch this time of year. So we actually caught a trout that I hoped I was going to get to use, but it was a little bit short. But I did have some trout, and we're going to actually use trout from right here in the area for this recipe. So I'm going to let you go ahead and spray this Pyrex pan.
All right.
Because we're going to put the fillets down in that pan. And you know, when you're using fish or anything like that for a recipe, you want to make sure that you've patted it really nice and dry. So I've already gotten all the moisture off of this. So let's get the pan sprayed.
All right.
And then I'll put these fish down in there. And that's going to work out really great. He's doing it exactly right. You know, if you take that pan spray and just go crazy with it, it goes all over your kitchen. All right, so this is perfect. I've got these fillets we're gonna put in, and while I'm doing that, you're gonna make up the olive oil mixture that's gonna go on the fish. So
Yes,
what
I
have
am.
you got there?
Well, I have a tablespoon of olive oil.
Okay.
I have 1/8 teaspoon of cumin.
Okay.
And I'm gonna add some garlic in here as well. It's gonna be 1/8 of a teaspoon as well. So I will add that to my mixture.
And you're just gonna kind of stir that up, yeah. And then I'm gonna let you swab this really well with that mixture.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna move over while you're doing that to shrimp, which is also really available this time of year. And we can actually catch shrimp just like this from our dock in Beaufort.
Oh, beautiful.
All right, so let's start rubbing that on and getting that going.
All right.
And the reason I'm doing the shrimp in a separate pan is because shrimp cooks a lot faster, George. This shrimp won't take very long to cook at all, and we're gonna cook this in a hot oven, 425, for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna flip it over and cook it for probably an additional 6, and that would have the shrimp way too done. So we're gonna do this in a separate pan, but I'm gonna let you take some of that mixture when you're finished there and put on the shrimp as well. Now, George, how much do you know about cooking in the kitchen? I mean, obviously you know quite a bit about track and field. You can teach me a few things there, but would you make a recipe like this at home?
You know, I would make a recipe like this just because it's simple to make, but I'm not that persistent in the kitchen.
Okay.
But this is something that I could do. It's fast and it's healthy. And this is something that I want to consider into what I'm doing.
And that, you know, that's a great point because we have chosen recipes tonight for the show that don't take that long to do and aren't hard to do and actually use local ingredients. So come back with us after the break. We're going to get this fish in the oven and then we're going to get those tacos put together. Sounds pretty good.
Sounds good.
All right. welcome back. And if you're just joining us, we are doing healthy, delicious food today that's going to keep you fueled up for all of your activities. And you know, we had quite a workout before the show even started today.
Yes, we did.
And you know, when you do that sort of thing, what do you recommend in terms of eating before you go to a spinning class, or you know, what is your recommendation in terms of eating?
Well, I recommend that you get your carbohydrates earlier in the morning or before you work out. That way you could have fuel when you're training. But if you want to do it midday, then you want a really good I guess, combination of protein, carbohydrates, and vegetables.
Like at lunchtime before you work out in the middle of the day. Well, so if I'm eating oatmeal first thing in the morning, I'm doing right.
Yes, you are.
Okay, perfect. Well, we're going to put together these tacos, and obviously very, very colorful. So, you know, it makes it appetizing. And when we're trying to introduce some of these healthy recipes to young people, if you go at it with a smile, instead of, I'm not sure they're going to like this, but they're going to love this sort of attitude, sometimes that plays a big part. So I'm going to have you get started on the slaw for the tacos, and it's a red cabbage and carrot combination.
All right.
So what have you got that's going in there?
Well, I have my low-fat mayo.
Okay.
And I have my lime juice.
All
and
right.
I'll combine this along with the slaw.
Perfect. Well, I will let you get started on that, and then I'll get started on the salsa.
Okay.
And this uses fresh peaches, and you know, a few weeks ago, George, I showed them how to freeze peaches when they're in season. So you know, if you've done that, then you've got peaches in the freezer already. Nectarine. This is a red pepper. And as always, our recipes are available at VeryVera.com. So all of the recipes today with all the proportions will be there. This is a scallion. And then a jalapeno pepper. And if you had to make any sort of a substitution, something like this pepper, if you didn't think your young person would go for that much heat, you could certainly leave that off.
Okay.
All right, then we've got olive oil. Okay, that looks pretty good. All righty, and then I'm gonna get you, put that right over there. And then this is the lime juice and lime zest. And then if you'll add the red wine vinegar,
all right,
the kosher salt and pepper. And then this is just, like I said, this is just a salsa. So let's get that slaw back over here, and I'm gonna assemble one of these tacos. But isn't that beautiful? As a matter of fact, this would be just great on the side if you just wanted to serve fish. And you know, the low-fat mayonnaise keeps this held together really well too, because it's just a stiffer product than regular mayonnaise. So on your tortilla shells, and these are whole wheat, you can put those in the microwave for 30 to 45 seconds just to give them a little bit of life. So we're gonna spread just a little bit. This is enough to make 5 of these. A little bit of the slaw. And then I'm gonna put the fish, and it just turned out so great. We took it out of the oven halfway through and flipped it over. So you can really smell that seasoning that you smeared on the top. So you did a really great job with that, George.
It's looking really good, by the way.
And then a little bit of the shrimp, and you were nice enough to cut that into 3 pieces for each of those, and these are medium shrimp. Then we're just gonna top this off with a little bit of that salsa.
And that looks delicious. Oh my goodness.
And doesn't it smell good?
Yes,
too?
it does.
All right, so we'll be wrapping these up. And then when we come back from the break, we're gonna get started on the sweet potato salad with grilled chicken. So that sounds really great too. So come back with us in just a few minutes.
Ask Vera is brought to you by Georgia Bank and Trust and Southern Bank and Trust.
Courtney Ware in Augusta writes, could you recommend books, websites, etc. for teaching table etiquette? Well, Courtney, I did some research for you. If you Google etiquette tips on the internet, the first thing that's going to come up is Emily Post. And Emily's got 10 top table manner bullet points that I think are excellent in terms of talking to a young person for the very first time and not going into overload with all the description. Start there with those top 10 points. From there, there's a historic video of Emily Post that was done in 1947 that's so cool that'll show how table etiquette has not changed in all of these years. There's actually a first edition of Emily Post's first book that was printed in 1922 that's on eBay right now for $1,500, but I want you to purchase the 18th edition, which really speaks to current etiquette protocol. Courtney, thank you so much for your question, and I hope I answered you and gave you some research ideas. But I want to also remind you that we've got Westaboo Festival coming up September 30th through October 4th, and you can get more information at westaboofestival.com. It's always so much fun. Great artists, wonderful shows. You don't want to miss it. Send your questions to Ask Vera at NBC26.tv. Welcome back, and we are the Olympic athletes of the kitchen, correct?
That's right.
That's right. So George is teaching me a few things, and hopefully, you know, he said he was kind of scared of the kitchen, kind of like I'm scared of this race that you're in, but we're going to have a really great time with this. This recipe, George, actually really interested me because I love potato salad, but I really love sweet potatoes. So I'm always going to choose like a sweet potato fry over a regular fry. So this recipe for sweet potato salad is something that I've never made, and it is really good. So what I did while we were away on the break, I peeled the potatoes and then cut them against the short side because a sweet potato is a lot harder than a regular Irish potato. So you want to be very careful when you're using that knife and take those shorter steps. Then I cubed it and put it in boiling water, probably cooked for about 6 to 8 minutes, just tender. Now I'm going to add all of these great ingredients. We've got yogurt, just a plain yogurt, so we're using that instead of the mayonnaise that goes in traditional potato salad. And then I've got mustard and honey, and this is local honey. I just love to use all the local honey that you can get. And then I've got chopped up pecans, craisins, dried cranberries, and then corn, and I actually cut this off the cob and kind of sauteed it in the pan. So I'm going to get you to get started seasoning the chicken that goes on the grill. And what have you got to season it with?
Well, I have standard salt and pepper.
Okay.
And I also have some fresh cut basil that I'll use on the chicken.
Wonderful. And we've got this griddle nice and hot. And this is actually an emerald griddle that's cast iron that goes across 2 of the eyes on your induction stove. You can use it on a gas stove too. And we're going to test this out tonight. You said you like the grill, right?
I love the grill.
Okay, well, we're going to be checking out his grill skills here.
And it's football season too, so.
I know it. So I'm going to start stirring up this wonderful salad. And here again, this time of year, this is so colorful, and we're all looking for new recipes. So let's see how that's going to do.
All right.
Oh, perfect. Well, you know, George, one of the things that, you know, is your purpose for being here is about eating, making the right choices, and doing things correctly nutrition-wise. So, you know, nutrition labels worry people. So can you give us some tips about nutrition labels?
Well, here's the thing about nutrition labels. A lot of times it's based on a 2,000 calorie or a 2,500 calorie diet. So people that have higher demands, such as athletes or active people, those nutritional labels are a little off of them. They may require more. So if they're basing it off of what they see on the nutritional labels, they're probably getting 80 or 90% of what they really need.
I see.
So
interesting.
So for someone that requires less, if they're eating off of the standard nutritional labels, they're probably getting more than they're supposed to consume. So that could lead to weight gain when they think that they're doing the right things by eating off of the standard nutritional labels. So that's a big thing. Another thing when using nutritional labels is you want to focus on staying away from saturated fats and trans fats. Those can lead to inflammation and slower recovery, and that helps for anyone. Anyone that's working out and they want to come back the next day and do another workout, then you definitely want to have something that's going to help you recover faster. And saturated fats and trans fats aren't that.
Okay. In terms of looking at serving size, I think that's the thing that trips people up a lot of times, is that they're not noticing the serving size and looking at this nutrition label, and sometimes it can be as little as 1/4 of a cup.
Oh, correct.
So that's a very important part, to notice all of these different numbers, but look at your serving size. Okay, let's flip one of those over and see how that's looking. Oh, wow. Hey, George, you look like you know what you're doing. This potato salad is turning out really great, and I'm going to add some ingredients together real quickly that are going to be a glaze that we're going to put on this when it's done. And here again, it's using local honey. I've got olive oil, a low sodium soy sauce.
I love soy sauce.
Oh, good. And then lime juice. And I'm going to whisk that together. And then when we come back from the break, we are going to welcome some of my young campers that are going to be just completely enamored with you, George, and what you've done with your life. And I hope you're going to be able to give these young people some really great tips. So come back with us in just a few minutes as we get this chicken finished and get all this food and welcome those young people. Welcome back, and George, we have had the best time today. It has just been great, and you know, Olympic training in the kitchen, it was a great way to title this episode. It's just fantastic. So I want to thank you again so much for being part of this. And while we were away during the break, we were able to finish the grilled chicken, and you just did an unbelievable job with that.
Thank you.
Turned out really well. We plated the fish tacos on a great fish platter that I have, cut those in half so they're easy to manage. And then the sweet potato salad just turned out great with all of the beautiful fresh vegetables in it, the corn, the cranberries, the nuts. It's just wonderful. With that yogurt, it's going to be really great. And with the grilled chicken, it's actually a whole meal in itself. So I've got some other special guests today. I've invited some of the campers from the VeryVera school. These were some of my campers this summer. And I'm just so thrilled that you guys could make a place in your calendar to join us. But we're going to sit down and enjoy some of this delicious food. So gentlemen, I'll let you help the ladies with their chairs, and we will get ready to enjoy some delicious food. So nice. We had the best time at camp this summer, and actually we did some great recipes ourselves, didn't we? Alrighty, so I'm going to get started with this sweet potato salad with chicken for everybody. And George, you know, one of the things that we have in common is the mentoring of young people. And I would love for you to share just a little bit about your story with these campers so that they'll know a little bit about how you got to where you are today.
Okay. Well, I grew up here in Augusta, Georgia, and I started track and field at the age of 7. And I knew that it was something that I wanted to do for a living, and I knew it was going to be a big part of my life, so I had to focus on making healthy decisions. So I was healthy at a young age, and I made health-conscious decisions at the age of 7, and it's something that has stuck with me, and because of it, I'm healthy now. So I want to instill in the younger generation good habits to help you guys throughout your life, and hopefully those good habits will spread to other people as well.
Well, and you know, we have so often thought about the fact that, you know, we're not as active sometimes as we used to be, that, you know, how many of you guys spend a lot of time on the computer or on your iPad or something like that? But how many of you play some sort of sport? Well, that's right. And so these sorts of things that give you the fuel that you need to do the activities that you want to do are so important. And you know, a lot of times new recipes are kind of scary, but when you think about the ingredients that you love, like fresh corn and nuts and cranberries and things like that, it makes it a lot more interesting to enjoy. So why don't we dive in and have some of this? Remember, when we do our camp, we talk about that we always put our napkin in our lap. We always sit up straight. We don't want to hover over the plate. And you know, we want to have all the fuel that we need to get this done correctly. So I want to certainly encourage everybody out there to try some of these recipes. They're available at VeryVera.com. And Sam and Emma Kate and Macy and Felton, they are all experienced cooks because they've been to the VeryVera cooking camp. And I'm going to share these recipes with you so you can try them with your family, your brothers and sisters. And I'm really looking forward to that. So why don't we dive in and see what some of this tastes like. And remember, when we're using our knife and fork, we always want to make sure that we're cradling that fork in the palm of our hand. You know, George gave me some help earlier with how to sit properly on the spinning bite, so now I'm giving him some tips on how to sit properly at the table. But I want to encourage everybody to, you know, if you have questions about nutrition and some of what we went over today in the show, you can send those questions to Ask Vera, and that's available on the website as well. And remember, no matter what you do, do it in good taste. I feel like I have great taste in friends, great taste in mentors. We wish you continued success, George, in what you've got going on. And come back and join us again next week for another episode of the VeryVera Show. Ooh, let's dive in.